Case Study by Kimber Weedle. To start off, we are going to summarize the case. You have a principal who is doing teacher observation, enjoying all the teachers he has hired until he gets to Mrs. Stevens. She is struggling with her class. They're not being engaged, they're being loud, they're not helping with the lesson, doesn't seem like they care. So when he's done with the observation, he brings her in to discuss it with her. He informs her what he found, and she is not happy. So the principal does cut the feedback short and lets her go. When he decides to not renew her contract, he observes her one more time. And when he tells her the information of not being renewed, she kind of goes upset and is threatening to sue for lack of guidance. Legal or ethical issues is next. The ethical issue is, or a few of the ethical issues, is Mrs. Stevens' reaction to the principal trying to tell her what she could do to improve her classroom. With her not listening, that also puts her as a closed-minded. She's not willing to learn what she can do for her classroom. The principal is also going right to non-renewal because he knows if he renews her contract this year, she will be up for tenure and then he will be stuck with her, and he does not want to deal with that. Legal, currently there are no legal issues, but if he goes on with not renewing Mrs. Stevens' contract, she will go to court and claim lack of guidance. Next, synthesize. The teacher observation feedback did not go as well as the principal nor the teacher expected it to go. Synthesize the facts. People. You've got the principal, the teacher, who is Mrs. Stevens, doesn't say what class she teaches, doesn't say what grade, nothing, but then you also have her students that are also the people in this situation. Places, it does not tell you anything about this school, so just I believed it was a public school program. Again, it doesn't inform you of anything about the classroom. So to me, I took it as she was teaching a traditional classroom. Next, review. Could the conflict situation or the discussion be damaging to stakeholders or the community? If Miss Stevens does sue the school, you'll have issues with morale. It's going to hurt the school by money to help with the suing. If they do lose, it is going to cause even more money issues. The morale at the school is just going to go down. So it's going to have damaging effects. What individual groups have an important stake in the outcome? The school, the principal, and Mrs. Stevens, they all have a stake at whether it's a bad outcome or a good outcome. Not all the stakeholders have been contacted about the situation. That is what the principal's next step was going to be, was to contact his supervisor, but it doesn't say that he was contacted or anybody else was contacted besides the principal and Mrs. Stevens. I feel like I could learn a lot more of this situation to know how many times has he actually observed her, what ways has he observed her, maybe see if we couldn't do a peer observation. There are a lot more things we could have known in this situation to be able to make a better decision on what the outcome could be or anything like that. Options. Options 1 would be to continue to refer Mrs. Stevens as a non-renewal teacher. Option 2, talk to your supervisor for advice. Option 3, don't turn in the paperwork and ignore the issue. Option 4, work with Mrs. Stevens to set goals. Next, evaluate the options. Option 1, you could lose when you go to court. This will hurt your reputation. This will hurt the school's reputation. You will lose the morale because it seems like it has really good morale with the school. You're gonna lose that. You could win, and if you win, that's gonna hurt Mrs. Stevens. She's gonna struggle to find another job. Option 2. Your supervisor might suggest options that you haven't thought about. This will help you think of the best way to go about this. Option 3, making the morale at the school bad. As a principal, you're miserable working with that teacher. As Miss Stevens, she's probably going to be tiptoeing around because she's feeling like her job is on the line with not knowing what's going on. Option 4, you'd be able to give a actionable feedback with Mrs. Stevens, allowed to set goals with her, show her how you want to engage, maybe be a guest teacher for that class for a little bit of time, show her how you are expecting her to teach. Last, what is the best option? I believe the best option is 2 and option 4. If you put them together, you're going to come out with the best outcome. So if you talk to your supervisor, make sure maybe going about this the correct way so he knows what's going on, knows that you're having issues with this teacher. But option 4 will allow her to not feel so attacked and be willing to work with her. Then you're not having to deal with the court or anything like that. Thank you.